It is a place where the truth should be kept.
The arts and music scene really shows what people are about.
Share what's going on here in York.
Makes you feel like a family.
Local art has a face that most people can relate.
Our community up here that sticks together.
Art is art.
Great potential with great artists, poets, singers, writers, directors, filmmakers. It's fantastic.
Everyone has a story to tell.
That moment, you have to capture that moment and share it with the rest of the world.
Showing something that maybe has not been seen before.
Without art, what is life?
I am art. I've been art ever since I was born.
It really adds a great deal to our community.
We don't really need art to exist, but you need art to live.
Culture in Maine is important, and I think playing out is important, and playing open mics and playing wherever you can play. It's all about us all checking in with each other.
Hi everybody, my name is Dustin Nispel, poet of York.
Jessica Flynn. Hello.
Also a poet. We're here checking out the compound with Jeff Stabley. Join us for the show. We're ready to give you a little bit of their work.
Silence. Only through silence behind closing eyelids may such a quietness become deadly, or perhaps a blessing. Where thoughts begin to manifest as a frequency sends itself, attached to invisibility, may the universe grasp it and bounce it right back again as I pray it may splash itself like rain down, and then soak itself grounded. Where the sleepwalker's pace, wearing a stone chiseled face, may that thought whisper fate that our destiny has not been misplaced. I pray it breaks us. Not broken, but resculpted and molding, may our fears be replaced and our footprints retraced, and consider this path we are traveling as wrongful and drowsy. May such a powerful whisper cause us to awaken. And that what had already broken will reform and grow skin and fuse with love and compassion. Pretend we're all congruently collapsing this programmed wiring. May that thought spark a fire that will relight our pilots, causing an opening of eyelids. Maybe then we can see. As what's been made invisible shall become visual, that we the people have been sleeping. We've been misguidedly trudging, misled and completely judging at what we've been failing to see, grumpy and hungry as we've been feeding these demons while starving our conscious selves' feelings. We failed to ask just exactly how we feel about that. Or perhaps focusing too much energy on the mindset and the feelings of what it feels like to be hopeless, robbing our souls by planting our withered feet into concrete. We've been mistreated. And our focus stays on hopeless as this manifestation continues to hold us on a journey leading us homeless. We've lost our direction. With or without question, we failed to see that blaming the program has guided our lack of understanding, that blaming the programmer has guided our lack of reason and where we stand. Because we do not stand up, we drag on like a bunch of lost souls who've lost direction, ungracefully staggering through this zombie land with their direction. I've failed to ask, how do we feel about that? Because I feel quite pissed that our focus of hopeless continuously manifests. We point fingers, we don't hold hands, we get distracted, we don't understand, we separate and divide, we do not conquer, we have strayed from the plan. But do we or don't we believe this? I mean, really believe in such a divine reasoning? Can a soul's destination become too clouded to see? Or maybe, just maybe, we've been squinting to see, merely grateful just to be, but such a dream we cannot reach if our focus fixates on the preachings and our ancestors' teachings become the fated, not the followed, because rumor has it we've been wallowing and swallowing the program's concepts until our stomachs ulcer to an aching pit, and then we're refed some more lines of mischief. And still from this, we point our guilty fingers, we do not hold hands, we're constantly distracted, we still don't understand, we separate and divide, we have yet to conquer, we stay strayed from the plan. And we refocus hopeless by staying angry at all of them. But our focus of hopeless can be flip-sided and bolded to a statement labeled hoping. Placed into its perspective, its definition reads hopeful. Now, ask yourselves, how do you feel about that?
see this is a spot to be tonight?
You know, you see a lot of different stuff. I mean, these guys playing down here, I haven't heard things like that since I've been here.
And how long have you lived here?
Pretty much my whole life. Not really in York, but the past like year or two I've been coming here a lot more.
So you would say for the audience at home watching that this would definitely be an event for them to come and check out.
Oh yeah. It's like a really great way to see York City, especially because it kind of seems really boring when you live here, but it's actually not.
Yeah.
They have stuff that goes on.
There's a strong sense of community here in this First Friday. Everyone kind of comes together in a peaceful environment and expresses themselves through music, art, and just socialization, just being social with the community.
Exactly. It's awesome. It's great.
Awesome. Thank you, Jarek. I hope you enjoy the rest of your First Friday.
You too, Dustin.
Hi, York City. My name's Dustin Nispel.
And I'm Jessica Flynn.
And we're here with the Litter Letter Project right on Philadelphia and George Street, which is an activist group dedicated to cleaning up our streets here in York and the environment. We're going to take a look and see what their project entails from the core, from how they got started, and their inspiration behind this project. So please stay tuned. All right, I'm here with Kelly Gibson. She's going to tell us a little bit about the Litter Letter Project.
Hi, well thank you so much for this opportunity and thanks so much for coming out. As you can see, it's starting to take shape. The Litter Letter Project is an initiative of the Cultural Alliance's Impact Arts and Culture Conference coming on June 27th at York College. And we're thrilled to bring Rachel Hatley. She's the founder of the Litter Letter Project here to York, but we're going to do the Litter Letter Project here in York before she comes. She started in Louisiana in a very personal response to all the litter that is all over the roadways there, and she wanted to do something about it. She's a graphic designer, so she designed typographical 3D 6-foot-tall letters, and then she picked up all the litter around the area and put it inside those letters, and that visual impact really made a difference for the people there in Louisiana, and it's traveled to different states. It's been in Iowa, it's been in Tennessee, and now it's coming to PA, and the first place it's going to have it in Pennsylvania is here in York. So we're really thrilled to have the community come out and help us build these letters, and then help us collect the trash and fill it to show what kind of change we can have in York. And that's our word in York. There's been different words in different states, and ours has changed, so we're really thrilled to do that. And that will be installed on June 21st. We're going to dedicate those letters in, and they're going to be on display throughout the months of June and July and August. And then we'll have those letters emptied out, and we can give them to other organizations to do their own litter letter projects in their own areas.
And let me ask you, what is your inspiration behind this here in York City? What is your goal?
Well, we just want to educate folks to really have them understand that when they drop that wrapper or they drop that chip bag or that drink container, that it's not just one thing, that it accumulates, and it really does change our community. And they can change the community by picking that up and putting that in a trash receptacle. And that way, when we show them just the vast amount of trash that we collect out of the roads and areas in the city and around the county, what we can do to change that. It's going to take 120 bags of litter to fill the word change, and that is not going to be an issue at all. I've been told that we could get that in one cleanup, so it's definitely a problem here.
Very good, very good. It's definitely a positive movement happening here in York with the litter control. This is our environment. This is the place that we live. We should treat it with respect and stay diligent about picking up after ourselves. These are the streets that we live on. This is where we live as families. This is where our families, our kids play. So this is a very important project, and I hope to see everyone supporting this project and taking heed to the messages that are coming through this message.
And visit impactartsconference.org to find out more about the Litter Letter Project in York and dates for cleanups and ways you can help. We really appreciate the support. Thank you so much.
So this is Patrick Sells, and he is a huge contribution to
The Litter Letter
the
Project.
Litter Letter Project. Thank you. And we're actually experiencing a situation taking place right now for that. Patrick, can you explain a little bit more on what you do for the city?
I guess we do a lot of things for the city. We work in the background to push the public arts and the streetscape projects with Downtown Inc. We're also working to start teaching as a part of Working Class, which will be a makerspace here downtown in the Rudy Art Glass building. So.
Good deal, good deal. And you actually weld these. You build these from scratch.
Yep.
Okay, so you're
We
like
sourced rebar from the community. Businesses donated it. Keystruck Construction and the Cultural Alliance and York College coordinated to bring all the pieces and connect us with Rachel Hatley. This is her project, her MFA project, and she'll be coming to York June 27th with the Arts and Culture Impact Conference.
Hey Lexi, how you like First Friday?
I'm loving it. This is the first time I've been out on First Friday and they had the street blocked off.
Nice.
So just for First Friday.
Let me ask you, Lexi, how do you feel First Friday's art expansion is influencing the cultural diversity in York City?
That is such an intense question. But true. It's true. I don't know. I mean, okay, so like personally, I love it because I get a lot of inspiration for writing, coming out and seeing all the different stuff. So I have to say, for me, that's why I like going out and I like people watching and I like the diversity of like the little kids, you know, and the families, and then you got like your group of the teenagers who think that they're badasses running around the city, you know? So that's cool, and I do a lot of people watching and I like going to the different galleries and then I reflect and I kind of write about it later. So it's almost like art creating art, you know?
And now you are a poet, and you do have a book that is available, right, through Poem Sugar Press. What's the name of your book, Lexi?
I'm a wanderer, not a runaway.
All right, and where can the audience find that book?
They can contact me. Email me spinj24@gmail.com. spinjay@gmail.com.
Thank you. Well, we're going to continue our journey with First Friday. Thank you, Lexi. Legitimately lacking intimacy. A testament fitting to the travesty of pestilence hung like a tapestry over the sediment of elements, left excellent evidence and emphasis on new developments of intelligence, that the impediments inherited malevolence on the precipice of prevalent decadence. Implement immediate requisite for exodus from venomous temperance, for it is irrelevant to the supplemental sustenance of my edifice. So I dig and crevice through empty presence when debt's the only essence measured, like a prosthetic ligament, endeavor to center the system's fingerprint, or better yet, cut the pressure from in debt to debtor, building interested increments. They call it climbing the pyramid of differences. So I dig down and cover an earth, let the dirt fill and ground the atoms of worth, immersing then resurfacing a cosmic sound, rehearsing and circling round my tribal drum as it pounds like clocks against those heavy golden blocks that drown and compound the tick 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 tocks. You were never home, just the road around, as I was alone, dressed as your puppet and clown, your fake king with his plastic crown, your mask painted with a red nose above a real frown. But now, unstrung and unbound, I'm leaving your circus of worthless and your earthless ground. As I wash you off with words, metaphors, verbs, and nouns, I can hear my drum pound as I pronounce you to past tense from the present sound, from cutting to cut down. I cast you out as legion from this holy ground into your sea of deceit, wearing your karmic shroud. Oh, your garment, how it pulls you down. I will recover myself and self-esteem from the release of this parasitic disease that's been feeding and greening on the leaves of my tree, carving my bark with darkness and grief, causing drought without relief. And in my doubt I stood a barkless tree, blistering and drying out, a dying tongue with no desire to speak out. Infection-induced response. Inflection, renew, respond. From shadow grows truth of a new dawn, and though my fruits are gone, I move on, proton to neuron, and remain positive upon this odd phenomena of neutron attack on the charge of my heart. I react and passively let it pass, as the past tends to feed on. See, I have weathered you and your bruises, disputed your thunder and striking fuses. I may be tethered and loosely rooted from the intrusive and abusive patterns you've used as excused excuses. I remove you and leave you toothless, as proof that my bark is hard and proven ruthless. I remain scathed yet unscarred, your hard and hard, trying to carve its mark in the base of my tree. Jody with a G. You think you know me, but the only emotion you see is GREED. You can have everything, but you can never have me, as I am purely spirit inhabiting and expressing my experience. As I am purely spirit inhabiting and expressing my experience. As I am purely spirit inhabiting and expressing my experience. How we do in New York. Be Tropical representing at the White Rose.
Take nothing, baby.
Culture remains here at Market View Arts. We're getting ready to take a few interviews from some of the artists that are featured here in the gallery, like this fantastic artist, Dylan Samuelson. A lot of great artworks hanging up in this gallery, downstairs, upstairs. We're going to walk around and see if we can get some inspiration from these guys and see where they get their inspiration from.
I am standing here with Christine Tabay, and we were kind of venturing through and looking at some artwork, and I was like, poop, right, like pinpointed on her stuff here. She does intricate watercolors, and she's been explaining to me how she does this, and I would like her to help explain to you all a little bit about what she does. So you said that we don't normally start with white.
Right, like
start with something.
Right, a lot of watercolors paint on a white paper, and they could do like a soft wash, and they layer it up.
Right.
But I've been using some newer material that has a tinted color, so you have a mid-tone to start with, a green or a gray.
Blending ability.
And so then you're going high, you're either going lighter or darker from that mid-tone. So these paintings are actually done on a green board.
So what originally started this for you? Did you just a very creative person and you like to doodle and to experiment?
I'm a landscape architect by trade, so I do design and kind of outdoor design and site design.
Yeah.
And so I do a lot of drawing and drafting and rendering with like markers and other materials, but and I do like some watercolor illustration, but not a lot. So this was doing everything without any straight lines at all, because for
out of your norm.
yes.
Out of your normal routine.
Yes, and it's a lot looser too.
Yes. There's a lot more play with it, and like you said, like picking like backgrounds like this, you can blend. You know what I mean? You can get those tones and those shades that you're looking for. Now you do a lot of nature stuff here.
Yes, well that's kind of like the things I'm comfortable doing, and pets and things like that. But everything I do has a lot of green in it. I think it's my environmental side. You know, I'm not going to do too many urban scenes. like that's just kind of what I stick to, is what I know.
What inspires you to, like you said, you're a very like whimsical type artist, like with the children imagination, fantasy type stuff. What inspires you? Do you have children? Do you have grandchildren?
I do have children that are grown up. I have grandchildren.
Yeah.
And well, when I wrote this book, what inspired me was I wrote it's called Things I Like to Know.
Okay.
And it's because kids are always asking you all kinds of questions, and I thought, well, let me write a book. I never saw a book with questions, you know, what people want to know, like kids want to know. So I thought, well, I'll just do that. And then, like all these other pictures, I really like animals, and so I just do searches and look for animals and different pictures. Then I sort of change them up and make them do what I want them to do.
Right.
And I don't know, my imagination just rolls.
That's good. That's good, and it comes out all through your painting. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. So you wrote your own book, and you illustrate.
Yes.
You do your own illustrations.
Yes.
Congratulations.
That's great. Yeah, so I'm always just thinking of all kinds of really fun things, and I guess I'm okay with art.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Yeah,
You'll never want to grow up.
I know, that's it. Just like Peter Pan.
Exactly. I love your work. It's beautiful.
Oh, thank you very, very much. I appreciate it.
Now, what about furniture? How long have you been incorporating this into furniture pieces?
I only have done 2 pieces. This was the first one actually I did, and I did that like maybe about 8 months ago.
That's really
I did
cool. Because you get to do like a mural effect, you know what I mean?
Yes, I did it. Cool. Like if you look here, this fish, you're looking down, is here. This is here. If you come over here, see they're here.
Wow. Okay.
So it's like a little pond, like a little pond, and so it's the whole way around.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
that's really cool. Have you thought about doing more furniture pieces? Nice. And not just for like kids stuff, but like I told them I would have this in my living room. Like I don't need that to be in my girls' room.
Exactly.
I would want to enjoy that.
Exactly. Yeah,
that's really cool.
Yep. Yeah, I'll do stuff for adults. I just really lean towards whimsical. I mean, I can do the. What do you want to do? I can do Bing's Dream.
Right.
It's just that I have a lot more fun.
And more passion is in it.
Right.
You know? And there are some adults out there like us, but not. You're right. It may lean more towards children, but regardless, it's still like an expressive state. You know what I mean? That everybody wants to be whimsical at one point or another.
Exactly.
You know?
Or have a little piece.
Yeah.
My thought is, you go into people's homes, and you can go to somebody's home for 10 years, and if somebody says, what art was on their wall? 9 times out of 10, you have no idea.
Some pictures, they're gonna be like, well, this lady's house had monkeys everywhere, and lions, and tigers, and bears.
So I figure if you even sit by one piece, it starts a conversation.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It tells a story.
Right.
Story.
Right. So that's another thought that I kind of have. Just to be a little eye catcher, a conversation piece, maybe a party,
And color. Wow. This one came out. I really like that color.
Right. I had so much fun doing that.
I bet.
Yeah, I really had a lot of fun.
Welcome, folks. We just saw Jeff Stabley at the Strand Capitol with the Compound. Amazing show, amazing jazz with a little bit of funk. We're gonna make our way over here to the Bistro 19 to check out Groove Jones featuring Tony C, who's an awesome beatboxer.
Beatboxer?
He represents Simab, Shut Your Mouth and Beatbox. He's been doing a lot of work here in the York area. He's also been doing a lot of work in Ohio. Check him out online. Tony C, aka Anthony Carrera. We're gonna go in here and check out what Groove Jones is all about. I know they're one of my favorite bands here in York, Pennsylvania. They're groovy, they're ready to get down. We're gonna go see what they got to offer us tonight on First Friday. Stay tuned.
The way I see First Friday is an excuse to kind of have everyone assemble downtown and kind of experience what downtown has to offer, whether it be the restaurants or the bars or the kind of the art exhibits or whatever else we have to offer. I would say in terms of how art would affect the city, any great city has an art influence. For example, you can walk down the street here and you see certain metal structures welded together, which otherwise may have been trash, but have formed into a twisted metal of beauty in some way. And really, if you're walking, I mean, the difference between a city which is in decay and a city which is evolving is its artwork, and it's obviously the impression that its citizens have had on it. So First Friday basically I think is very important. It's only 12 times a year, but it's an excuse to get people downtown and see what exactly is going on in the central hub of York County, York City.
And York, Pennsylvania is a city on the rise. We are an art community that is rising above the rest. Yes, we are a small city, but we are strong, and our culture is real. And you can see that through the rest of these episodes of Culture in Maine. So please pay attention to what's happening here in York, Pennsylvania. This is your home as well as mine. We love you. Stay tuned for Groove Jones.
This is the place in York to catch us every First Friday.
Every First Friday, ladies and gentlemen, so make sure you get out here and support Groove Jones. They're one of the grooviest bands in York. They've been making a lot of noise here in the city, and they're just really awesome to watch. They have a great presentation with music and with the vocals. They do a lot of great covers. They got a lot of great original work as well.
We have Terrell Henry.
Terrell Henry right here.
Video Bomb. my man all day.
Yeah, all day.
All day.
All day.
He's big beard. I'm little beard.
Every first Friday.
Every first Friday.
Do you guys have a website that we can find you at?
GrooveJones.net.
GrooveJones.net.
And also on this is Joe. Also on Facebook, Groove Jones Jr. or Groove Jones. You can type in that. It's like, and this is Jasmine.
Joe and Jasmine, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, I'm here with Tony C, master beatboxer of York, Pennsylvania. He's playing with Groove Jones tonight. We're going to get a little feedback about him and some of the projects that he's been doing here in York, Pennsylvania. Take it away, Tony.
Hey, how's it going, guys? My name is Tony C. Anthony Carrera. I'm the local beatboxer and drum set player in York, Pennsylvania. We're at the Bistro 19 right now, and I'm with Groove Jones Jr. Actually, we're going to be playing a show tonight. We play a funk party the first Fridays of every month. It's a really great party. We have a bunch of people come out here. I'm like I said, a local beatboxer. I make music with my mouth, vocal percussion, and I perform all around the area. I just had a really great show at Beer Mongers. I got another one coming up at Newgrounds Roasting Company, actually. I work with Ralph Washington, and we have a bunch of shows in the area too. So there's all kinds of great music happening in York right now between the open mics and the gigs. We got gigs all over the place, so things are going really great.
And where, if the York citizens want to find any information about you, or the Philly citizens, or the Millersville citizens, where could they find you at online?
You can find my information on Facebook at Tony C Beatbox at Facebook, and also if you YouTube search Tony C Beatbox, there's all kinds of videos on there. And also check out my websites for my group. My company is called Shut Your Mouth and Beatbox, SYMAB, and that's my beatbox group where I organize battles and I organize beatboxers from across America. So check that out. It's SYMAB.com. And so yeah, Tony C Beatbox. Search on the internet for that.
And let me ask you one time here, Tony. I know you got to get on there and play with Groove Jones real quick, but what is your inspiration for beatboxing? You're a master percussionist. What drives you to pursue this career in percussion?
What really drives me in music overall, my beatboxing, my drum set playing, my whole musical thing, is that connection with other people. I feel like music is one of the ultimate connections you can have with other people. It's beyond words. It's beyond being physical. It's a different kind of language. It's how musicians can connect with each other after you haven't seen each other for years. You can sit there and play with another musician and catch up just like it's been yesterday and stuff. So my big thing with my music is connecting with people, connecting with the crowd, connecting with random people. Anyone I meet, especially with my beatboxing, it's something that people haven't really heard before, and they get really excited about it and stuff. So that's what really makes me happy, is connecting with other people through music.
I'd like to thank you all for tuning in to First Friday here in York, Pennsylvania at Culture in Maine. We'd like to showcase all of the artists that are emerging here in York, Pennsylvania. Carla Christopher, which is one of our main hosts here. I'm just co-hosting for the evening, but thank you guys for joining us. I hope you enjoyed everything we had to show you. Please come out and support this art movement. This is what's changing our community. This is what's important here in our city. This is making a difference. Make a difference in your city. Be a part of this. Thank you. Dustin Nispel. You can visit me at denpoetry.com. I am a spoken word artist here from York, Pennsylvania. You'll see me in some upcoming shows here in the future. Thank you all. Have a good night.
Now, if you didn't know that York City and York County is the place to be when it comes to arts and cultural destinations, well, I don't know what you've been doing all this time. But the people at Downtown Inc., a marketing organization that is specifically all about getting it out there to the world that York is the place to be for arts and culture, is hosting a really fabulous new event. It's called Second Saturday in the Square, and it takes place every second Saturday throughout the warmer months, right here in downtown York, right here in Continental Square, right at the center. You've got a big old center stage. It's full of fabulous artists from different genres. But they're doing way more than just having a center stage of free open air performances. They're transforming the entire landscape of downtown York into a melange of arts and culture. So I have one of the masterminds behind bringing this kind of cultural experience to downtown York with me tonight, Doug Knight. And he's going to fill us in on exactly what we've got coming up for Second Saturday in the Square and why it is that you need to go and check it out. Welcome to Culture in Maine.
I'm so happy to be here.
Mr. Knight.
Thank you for having me.
Now, we just had our very first second Saturday in the square, and the theme for that one was the dance.
The dance, that's right. We started with the dance. Now, as you set up perfectly, every month that we're doing this on the second Saturday through October, we're going to be focused on a particular art. And we're going to try to focus on that and kind of share that with our community a little bit more. So June, for our next one, will be June 14. That's going to be music. So we're going to really try to light up the square with a lot of great sounds. Sonically, we're going to get people excited about what's going on here. So the different types of music and genres.
Sonically,
try to play some things around here so that we can really get people putting eyes on the square in a different kind of way. As you know, and this is a big thing I know with Culture in Maine, we need to have an area of community always. And inside that area of community, we're going to have pockets of communities. And we're looking for one right here with Second Saturday in the Square. We think Continental Square, it's historic in its nature as a community spot. And it can be again. And we just want to sort of showcase that. And we thought, if we're going to do this, what better way to do this than with the arts? So we partnered up with the Cultural Alliance of York County. And we said, hey, let's do this and make this happen. And then it was really cool was figuring out these different types of art and kind of splitting them up into the different months.
Yeah, what are some of the different art forms that are coming up?
So we're going to mix this, and we're going to have this really great mix of different artistry that's happening
crazy.
here. So we have dance, obviously we started with that one. But we're also going to have music and visual arts and spoken word and voice, like choir groups and things, and theater. So we really want to showcase all that there is in the White Rose City. I mean, there's so much great art happening here. And at the same time, we also want to show our visitors and guests and residents that the square, in and of itself, is a great place to gather. And to picture that, to see it, to visualize it. We have a lot of great ideas that have come throughout the years about what to do with the square and how we can work on the square.
It's true.
And we want to keep pursuing that conversation. But we felt that the best way, like we know from most art, the best way to enjoy it is experience it. Get in the middle of it.
Nice.
And what better way to do that than be in the middle of the town, the middle of the county, right here in Continental Square, put the art there and say to everyone, come out and have a blast with us.
And what is so cool is that wherever you are in that whole area around the square, I mean, you guys are filling the whole area with art. There's buskers and musicians and street performers and I mean, it might be poets, it might be musicians, it might be singers, it might be dancers. So for any genre, so if you're, say, not the biggest fan of spoken word, although I don't know how that's possible.
I don't know how that's possible.
You can still go down to the square and there's all different types of poetry on the stage, but there's also, music and art and all kinds of things happening all around the square.
That's right.
And that's you guys too. You're coordinating, just sort of flooding the whole area.
That's right. We put out, and we're continually putting out a call to artists to say, hey, we want to work with you on this, because really what this is twofold. It's really showing the square as a space, as a gathering space, and what this could be, the promise of it. But at the same time, we also want to show our guests and residents that the art scene that we have here is here. It's not the promise of it. It is the truth of it. It is here and happening. And so that's when it's been really great working with the Cultural Alliance of York County, is that they have some wonderful partner organizations and they do such a great work that we thought, let's get together and make this thing happen and do these call outs and doing things like spoken word and theater and voice and doing it in an interesting place that will showcase those. And then I should also mention that this is one day of the month. But the other thing that we really want to sort of emphasize to everyone is these artists, these things are happening throughout the month, throughout the months, throughout the years. This is happening all over town. And so we have these really great venues that are doing wonderful work, whether it's the Parliament, places up in the King's Courtyard area, up in the Royal Square neighborhood, or if it's in the west end of town, West Market, or if it's on George Street. We have places that give artists a venue, or we have areas where the artists say, no, I'm going to take this and showcase my work. And
artists are taking it over.
That's right. So we want to make sure that all of that is applying here. We also want to make sure that everybody understands, though, that the square as an entity is a great place for gathering. And we want to make sure that we can start the emphasizing of that as a place, as a location. And so we can look at things like how we're going to do our lighting and how we're going to do the layout and the walkability of it, and really putting all that together, but doing it with the art in mind, making sure that everybody sees that our community has this amazing art community within it. And if we can showcase that in a way that's really a great experience for everybody, that's what makes this fun.
So do you feel like the scene that's downtown has changed? I mean, there were many years where people did not come downtown, and especially the square sort of became a cross-section with a rough reputation. So now you're asking people to come back to Continental Square who might not for years have considered it a place that was really pedestrian friendly.
Right. You're absolutely right. I mean, historically, and a lot of cities go through this cycle. We know this from other cities, and we certainly have gone through this here ourselves, where we've had areas where we've had pockets, or we've had, a longer period of time than maybe we hoped for areas that people said, I don't know if I want to go there. But what we found that's really interesting is when people get a second look now, when they actually give themselves a moment to come down. If I could, the First Friday is probably the best example of this.
Awesome.
You have somebody come down for First Friday, and maybe they come for one thing. They want to go to dinner at X. They want to go here to Bistro 19 or the White Rose or something. And they come downtown, and they're there with their friends, and they do the thing that they said they were going to do. And then all of a sudden they look around. And they see all this stuff happening, and they look at these stores that are open, and they say, geez, I didn't even know that store was there. And then they go in there and they check out the store. And then the best thing that happens, Carla, and I swear this is what makes this happen. Community is conversation.
Yes.
Community is conversation.
Yes,
they walk into the store and they meet the merchant. They meet the person behind the sign. And they realize that this is a great thing that's happening here. And before you know it, that First Friday visit becomes a Tuesday afternoon lunch. Becomes, let's do business downtown. Maybe I should move my business downtown. Maybe I should think about living downtown. And that really happens. And I know sometimes there's a little bit of that's a huge jump, Doug. You can't think that happens all the time. It happens. People are seeing the city with a different set of eyes. Now, we are not blind to the fact that there's more to do. We know that there's more to do. But we also know that there are some great things happening now. And it's actually funny, one of the things we just did was this amazing video by some local artists right there at the Parliament. And we called it the Who Knew campaign. And we did that specifically because we get so many times people say, God, I did not know that this was here. I didn't know this was going on here in town. So if we can showcase this more and more, again, getting back to the second Saturday in the Square idea, if we can showcase the space, we can showcase the artistry, and we can showcase the community. Now we're doing something. Now that's something that people can take back and say, hey, what'd you do on Saturday? And their answer is going to be, let me tell you where it was.
Second Saturday in the Square. And Second Saturday, we've developed First Fridays are really great. Second Saturdays, now is coming up, and I know that they have the Second Saturday open mic at the Furniture Outlet, which has become a gathering space. We've got Bloom Art Market on Third Fridays, which has lots of different art exhibits and different venues with merchants. So there's something to do pretty much every weekend now. We just when are we going to have the fourth weekend?
We're going to have to make a fourth Wednesday something, right?
Right.
With the box lunch review that happens at Cherry Lane. There's so many amazing things that are going on here. But I think the reason we do this, and again, it goes back to my idea that conversation is what makes up a community. We're having these conversations, and the best way to do it is the arts. Now, as you and I stand here, we both are artists, and I played trumpet for years, and music is a thing that means everything to me. And I always said that the best artists are the ones that invoke a conversation, whether it's overtly happening or if it's after the fact. I'm thinking about what I heard in that spoken word, or what I felt from that theater, or what I felt when I put on that record. There's something like that makes you move. We want to do the same thing when it comes to the events and the initiatives that we do. We want people to enjoy the moment, take that in, but then tell the story, tell the conversation to the next person, or the next time you're thinking about something, you're going to remember, geez, I had a good time on the Square. I had a good time at First Friday, or I had a great time when I went to Newgrounds and I went to the shop and I heard what was going on there. It's amazing when those conversations happen that then people can let down their guard a little bit about the past historical context of what they think of a city from what they've told or been learned or something to that effect, So then it becomes more of I'm more open to check out what's going on and see what's there. And I think once they do, they're going to see some great and talented people.
Well, I can't wait. Well, I will definitely be there. So I will get to see you on June 14th. For our next one. And people can go to the Downtown Inc. website if they want to get updates on what the next art is going to be and some of the performers. So
absolutely. You're interested in coming down and checking it out. If you're an artist and you want to get involved with this, downtownyorkpa.com is the website. You can come and check out all the information, and we would love to have that conversation with you.
Culture in Maine and myself, Carla Christopher, your fearless host, are here downtown York at the Market View Arts Building. Faux is an incredible exhibit put on by Wayne White of Pee-wee's Playhouse fame. They've created an installation based on the Civil War invasion of York that's found a fun, interactive, and unbelievably creative way to teach York's very unique history to all the citizens of the people that live here. We got a chance to catch up with a touch of the artist, Wayne Wright, but also with the head of the gallery experience at York College, who could talk about how this all came to be. And the coolest part, this was not just made by Wayne White. This was built by the artisans of York County. In fact, volunteers came in from Baltimore, from Lancaster, from Harrisburg, and a team of untrained volunteers, community artisans, and even just regular community people who had no art experience at all, came together and worked 6 days a week, sometimes as much as 12 to 14 hours, burning their fingers with hot glue and cutting out pieces of cardboard just to create this installation under Wayne's guidance. What they did here, I think you'll find just as incredible as what our townspeople did in 1863 to ensure their town's safety and survival.
Hello, I'm Parker James Hooker. I'm a York City resident, and one day I was hanging out at the market and reading the free newspaper, and they had the flip side was talking about an artist from Chattanooga, Tennessee, that was coming to York and putting in an exhibit. And being a local artist, musician, I thought, well, I got to meet this guy. And so I came over here, this was open, and there were a handful of people hard at work on some of these heads or masks. And Wayne was here, and I introduced myself, and he was saying about the scale that they were trying to put on here, and it seemed like this guy is loopy, a little bit loopy. And the more I talked to him, the more he was loopy. And so anyway, he had this vision of bringing the Southern Army back to York and for their second invasion. And being a Southern boy from Knoxville, Tennessee, I thought, well, count me in. How can I help? And so I came with the thought that someone else was coming to help us to do all this, and they never really came. There was a lot of volunteers. There was a lot of general help, but as far as structural assembly kind of things, seemed like I was one of only a couple people that stuck to it and helped put this all together. So I had about 4 weeks, I guess, that I was here, and I couldn't leave. I just couldn't leave. I got committed, and I had to see it through. And so, looking back at it, if I had taken a day off, I don't think we'd have opened up on First Friday, because there was just so much work here to do. And I'm a builder by trade, and I've had to use every trick in my bag of tricks to be able to bring Wayne's vision to where you see it today. York Corrugating donated stacks of corrugated board that were 4 foot by 5 foot, 5 foot, big pieces. And this is not cardboard, it's corrugated board. Mrs. Wolf pointed that out many times when she was here. This is not cardboard. Do not offend her with the word cardboard. It's corrugated board. And the difference is the corrugated way this board is made, which made it ideal for this install, because you can curve it. You can see different places where, we could take a piece of it and run it over the side of a table and break it up a little bit to make it curve. But the process was all putting every piece together with tabs, which is just pieces of bent cardboard with hot glue. And I sort of coined the phrase blister kids, because everybody that worked on this project are scarred for life because of blisters from hot glue. It's hot. And but that's what's holding us all together. And after almost 2 months of, if you'd have been here a couple minutes ago, the kids that came through here yanking and pushing and touching things, and it's still in good shape. I was told if anything broke or something, I'd have to come in here and fix it. I haven't been in here to fix anything. I've been in here to visit with my family, and this feels like my family, and I'm going to be very sad when they leave town. But it's all razor blades, hot glue guns and cardboard, corrugated board, and paint. The best part about this, and Carla can speak to this later, the community involvement was unbelievable. For years, I've heard my artist and musician friends belly aching about nothing ever happens here. Nothing is there to do in this art music thing. Well, the people that were here bonded together in a way that is priceless. As far as it's been a priceless experience working on this project.
Hi, my name is Stephanie Allison. I'm here at the Wayne White exhibit Faux. I am a local artist, and I also volunteer for York Arts on occasion, and also gallery sit here as long as this exhibit lasts. Welcome. This is an awesome treat for York County. Hopefully you were here to visit and got to experience it. It's an exhibit where you can see the adults turn into 8-year-old children as soon as they walk through the door. It's a lot of fun, interactive, a great thing to participate in. Wayne is very interested in the Civil War. He was born in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and he has that background in the Civil War. And when he came in the spring of last year, he saw Faux above the doorway. So he kind of researched the Civil War of York, Pennsylvania, found out the whole thing where York was made to be demanded of some of their goods. Certain people tried to save the town from being burnt, so they did give in to some of their demands to save the town so it wasn't burned. People do have mixed feelings on that, and some people don't even know the background history of it. I felt proud because it was an effort from all of us to create such a fabulous piece of art. Proud that the responses that the folks had that saw it. It was very interesting to work with Wayne. His focus and ability to work with people and direct them and have different people in on a constant basis and keep everybody working was utterly amazing, and it was very much a learning experience for me. And meeting the people that I got to work with. I met a lot of artists from here, from across the river in Columbia, Lancaster. So we had a lot of different artists work on this, and of course a lot of students work on this from HAC, York College, the York Art Institutes. And we had different people in every day. That's why I said it's amazing how he kept everybody focusing on what they were doing, how it turned out to come to be what it is. The kind of work that I do is, unfortunately, I'm not able to focus on one type of medium, so I have my hands in many, many things. Sculpture, jewelry, painting, mixed media, all different kinds of things. So that's why this was something that was near and dear to my heart. I worked for 22 years for the Bon-Ton, doing visual merchandising. So this was kind of, in a way, similar to that. Even though we made displays for stores, I was kind of familiar with all the equipment and things, or jobs that we had to do. Well, I think it has its good points and its bad points. Of course, we're going to miss it because, we've had, I call these guys my babies. So, I was here on almost a weekly basis, sometimes more than once a week, to check up on my babies, even though they're actually Wayne's. Yeah, it's going to be sad, but yet it is only cardboard, so it's not made to be a permanent thing, but it will be something that's permanent in my mind forever. The experience is just totally amazing.
Now, on July 30th in 1863, the Confederate Major, General Jubal Early, he led the Confederate troops right here through York. Now, they could have burned the entire town down, but they decided not to, in exchange for receiving supplies, food, boots, all kinds of things. In fact, General Early stood right on the Capitol steps and addressed our townspeople, and this is what he said to them. To the citizens of York, I've abstained from burning the railroad buildings and car shops in your town because after examination I am satisfied the safety of your town would be endangered.
And acting in the spirit of humanity which has ever characterized my government and its military authorities, I do not desire to involve the innocent in the same punishment with the guilty. Had I applied the torch without regard to consequences, I would have pursued a course that would have been fully vindicated as an act of just retaliation for the many authorized acts of barbarity perpetrated by your own army upon our soil. But we do not wage war upon women and children, and I trust the treatment you have met at the hands of my soldiers will open your eyes to the monstrous iniquity of the war waged by your government upon the people of the Confederate States.
And that you will make an effort to shake off the revolting tyranny under which it is apparent to all that you are groaning. J.A. Early, Major General, Confederate States of America.
So I'm Matthew Clay Robinson. I'm the gallery director at York College, and I started working on this project about April of 2013. Contacted Wayne's gallery about the possibility of having him come lecture at York College, and the gallery asked if Gallery director Cliff Benjamin asked if we'd like to have an exhibition of the paintings. I said yes, and we worked on that idea for a little while, and eventually I talked to him about some of the site-specific installations that Wayne has done in the past, and I was shocked when Cliff asked if we'd be interested in doing one in York, because I just assumed that only museums get to put up Wayne White site-specific installations. So we talked about the idea, and eventually Cliff turned me over to Wayne, and I started communicating directly with Wayne and had him come out June 2013 to see Market View Arts and take a tour around York and get a feel for the place. And when Wayne came into this space, his first thought was, wow, this would be the biggest one yet. Also, the space, just taking it in, he had some ideas right away, which it's funny to look back on that now, because he said he would accentuate the long horizontal and work lower to the ground with letter forms and not build too high. Well, that all went out the window later. He was struggling with that concept and was very open about it. Said, don't worry, we will definitely do, I'll have a great idea before I come out there, but right now it hasn't come to me yet. So I rounded up a huge packet full of historical materials and tourism bureau kind of things, and sent him a ton of information to look through. And what he really dug into was the historical information about the Civil War history of York. He's a huge Civil War history buff. Didn't know about this part of York's history, and was really, really interested in it. And started doing drawings of these soldiers going wild. He really identified with them in a way, having grown up around country folks down in Tennessee, and he was imagining what it would be like for these country boys that he grew up with to ramble into a town of riches like York was at that time, and encounter wealth like they'd never seen before, and how they would just go wild, and he had this image of bedraggled, really rough-looking characters running amok. And so that's where when he showed up in late February, last day of February, he had drawings and a couple models, and really it was just he just let loose with his imagination in here. And it was interesting. I realized pretty quickly that
this was going to be, that not having a museum staff was going to be a challenge, but it was kind of like if you build it, they will come. If you bring him, they will come. The volunteers showed up in droves. People love Wayne White, and they were driven by their love of his work and drawn to his personality, and gave incredible amount of time to this project. 40 hours a week people were putting in easily. And we had, I'd say, at least 60 volunteers over the course of the 5 weeks Wayne was here, some of whom were here every single day, even Saturdays. When he showed up, he said 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. But then he found out that people were willing to come in all day on Saturdays. So suddenly it was 9 to 5, Monday through Saturday. And then he started to realize people were willing to work in the evening. And so by the end, it was like 9 till 11. That last week was a mad push to bring this thing to conclusion, and it was all hands on deck. Great experience for a lot of people. He brought a lot of magic to the city, and I think this was something that really was close to him. This meant a lot to him. He was so interested in what he was building here. This is a project that he's very proud of, and so York is proud of it that we pulled it off, but he is too. He's really pleased with. When I asked him about the idea of building something like this with a team of volunteers rather than a professional museum staff, he was quick to say that the people that worked on this measure up to any museum staff he's ever encountered. That the artists of York have just as much talent and skill as any group he's ever worked with. Well, the timing of this was perfect. I didn't know who our next college president was going to be and what that college president's mission would be when we decided to do this. A big part of the reason that we decided to bring this downtown was that we simply couldn't, it was going to take 5 weeks to build, and then we wanted to have at least a 6-7 week run, for people to experience it. And it's impossible to lock down the galleries on campus in the spring for that long because we have all of our student exhibitions at that time. So we started looking for spaces, and then, what was great is that the subject matter of this really belonged downtown, more so than at York College. To have these Confederate soldiers occupying downtown York just means more than having them camping out on York College's campus. And getting back to we hired a new president, and Dr. Pamela Gunter-Smith came in, and one of her big priorities was to strengthen the relationship between the community of York and the college community. And this was a great way to do it because we brought together, we had students coming down here in droves. We had people from around York and around the community, people from Hershey, people from Lancaster, even some from Philadelphia and Baltimore who were coming in here and working on this. So it was a great outreach effort in a way. It wasn't the main purpose of what we did here, but it was a really great byproduct to strengthen the relationships between downtown York and York College. And that's something that we'd really like to continue building on. Community engagement is a major priority of our new president. And so this, I think, was a fantastic beginning to her tenure as president with that in mind.
It's been totally amazing. Everybody's been positive and saying they cannot believe that they're in York City, which is a good thing. To see that York City is growing and having events like this. Like I said before, it was just amazing to see the adults turn into children as they walk through the doorway. And it just became like an adult playground to them. And they'd be in here laughing and giggling like 8-year-olds. It was totally incredible.
I'm Carla Christopher, and thank you for joining us right here on the corner of Culture in Maine for another episode of York's weekly cultural showcase, bringing you the very best of the art and culture scene in the York area. Now, if you like what you heard, or even if you didn't, we want to hear from you. So find us on Facebook and make sure to click like at facebook.com/Culture in Maine. Follow us on Twitter at Culture in Maine. Email us at cultureinmaine@gmail.com. Or to find all things Culture in Maine, check out our website, wrct.tv. Go to Channel 18, Show Profiles, and pick Culture in Maine. We want to also thank the artists who contributed to our set. We want to thank Hacker and Case for Change for donating the guitar. And we want to thank, of course, the fabulous artist Lovey Reinhold Price. Find her under The Glass Vidalia on Facebook or by emailing theglassvidalia@gmail.com, and John Stump of jsphotographyfinearts.com. You can also look up JS Photography Fine Arts on Facebook as well. So be safe, be good to each other, and we will absolutely see you here next week on the corner of Culture and Maine.
I'm really excited about this. I love the atmosphere, and I just want to know more about it.
I see it evolving, changing, growing. I like it.
It's fleeting. Once it happens, once a song comes out, once a poem comes out, it'll never come out the same.
Something like Culture in Maine is documenting what's going on in a way that will have that lasting staying power.
It just breeds health, growth. It's a necessity. It's a necessity, yes.